With electrification becoming the industry norm in the automotive world, we have a wide range of vehicles to choose from, whether that be plug-in hybrid, hybrid, even mild hybrid, and also full EV like Tesla. But what we haven't seen yet, at least up until last year, was a vehicle that was off-road capable, a vehicle that was durable, rugged, practical, but also one that could be daily driven and be economical. The Jeep Wrangler 4xe is a SUV that can solve a lot of problems for many Americans who are maybe feeling the pinch at the pump. This vehicle right here is a plug-in hybrid. It gives you the benefits of experiencing electric technology while still being conventional enough with a gas-powered motor. And in this video, we're going to find out what the value of E is, because when you take a look at that 4xe badge, it kind of reminds me of algebra. And I want to find out what that value of that letter E is. So in this video, we're going to take a deep dive into the Wrangler, check out all the features that this model comes with, and also see why, if you are looking at buying an electrified vehicle and you want something that looks cool, fun, and also really engaging, then maybe taking a look at the Wrangler 4xe might be a great decision. Now, before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout and thank you to Central Jeep, Chrysler, and Dodge in Raynham, Massachusetts for allowing me to do this review. Their link will be in the description below, so you can check out their extensive Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram inventory. Also, before we get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you're notified every time a new video goes live on the channel. And so, without wasting any further time, let's get right in this review. An integral part of Jeep's plan moving forward is to electrify their lineup, to usher in a new era for this American brand. With Ford bringing back the Bronco nameplate, many within the industry, including journalists and consumers, wondered if the crosstown rivals were the new kids on the block. But flying below the radar, the Wrangler 4xe has taken a major leap that could have a lasting impact for SUVs and their development heading into next decade. With Americans still reluctant to buy smaller vehicles, Jeep is banking on improving the value proposition of their current product line to appeal to current and future buyers who love the utility but demand overall efficiency. Starting off with pricing, the Jeep Wrangler 4xe Sahara comes in at just under $55,000. And while you are looking at paying an additional $7 to $10 grand over a fully conventional model, the 4xe does qualify for the federal tax credits since it is a plug-in hybrid. Up until last year, the Wrangler was a unique and one-of-a-kind SUV on the market, even if some would argue that there's better options available. But now moving in the direction of electrification, Jeep is currently one step ahead of the Ford Bronco. And in fact, for 2022, the 4xe is America's best-selling plug-in hybrid, outclassing even the Toyota RAV4 Prime. One of the key factors that does play a role in Jeep's success is that with a ground clearance of 10.8 inches, the Wrangler is currently the only vehicle that can provide off-road capability combined with being efficient and economical. Further enticing buyers to choose the 4xe above competitors in the PHEV market is the iconic Wrangler design. And if it wasn't for the blue accents that can be found throughout the exterior and also on the wheels themselves, you'd have to take a real close look to distinguish this model from other Wranglers. The full LED headlights and fog lights will provide a sufficient amount of illumination as you travel down dimly lit streets or dirt roads. And thanks to Jeep's signature front fascia, this hybrid is far and away more inspirational to stare at than others in this price range and segment. Moving over to the side profile, standard for the Sahara will be 20-inch fully painted aluminum wheels, adding a rugged and aggressive color contrast on this model. Out of the available trims, this is the Wrangler you want as your daily driver thanks to the all-season tires. And despite the solid front and rear axles, this SUV should be more than comfortable to cruise around town in. But also, for those times you do go off-road, you'll appreciate having that durability and ruggedness. Optional, but we believe is necessary, especially if you have a family, will be the side steps to allow easier access to the interior of the Wrangler. Then coming around to the back, nothing unconventional here besides the blue tow hook mount that once again lets you know this is a 4xe model. And we can really appreciate that Jeep isn't trying to make a statement of going electric, as most brands aren't too shy in differentiating their hybrids and PHEVs from their fully gas-powered cars. Stepping inside, you're greeted by heated leather-trimmed seats for both the driver and passenger. And while they're not power adjustable, you'll easily be able to find a comfortable position inside the Wrangler. When it pertains to support and bolstering, the seats are somewhat firm, yet plush enough to make weekday commutes enjoyable. In front of you, between the analog gauges, it will be here where you can monitor your fuel and battery range, as you have the capability of switching between hybrid and pure electric modes thanks to the buttons that can be found on the dashboard left of the leather-wrapped steering wheel. With the 4xe being a plug-in hybrid, regenerative braking will be present as you let off the accelerator, and that will also be displayed on the screen to let you know that you are recharging the batteries. Then moving over to the infotainment system, no surprises here, as you will have an 8.5-inch touchscreen with Jeep's Uconnect 4 user interface and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility. And for the Sahara, onboard navigation does come standard. The one key difference between the 4xe and conventional Wranglers is the hybrid electric pages, where you can schedule when to charge your Jeep when it's plugged in at home. And as we see showcased on this screen, with a 240-volt level 2 charger, the battery will be at full capacity within 2.5 hours. This model does have the $700 integrated off-road camera to provide better visibility as you traverse over the rocks and ruts on the trails. Unlike the new Uconnect 5 system found in the Compass and Grand Cherokee, this user interface is a bit more simplified, but no less responsive, with icons mounted at the bottom of the screen. And it's also here where you can adjust the climate control settings and access the heated seats and steering wheel if you prefer to not use the physical buttons that's found mounted further down the dashboard. Finally, you'll have a rear backup camera with trajectory to help you back in and out of tight spots. Continuing on down the dashboard, you'll have the buttons that lower and raise your windows between the USB-C and USB inputs, and on the left will be a 12-volt outlet. Then of course, with the Wrangler being an off-roader with 4-wheel drive, you can control where the power is distributed to get you out of deep snow or mud. Finally, for the center storage compartment, you'll have more than enough room for smaller items. Now moving on to the second row, we're going to start off on the passenger side. And this seat has been adjusted all the way back and is somewhat on a recline. And I have more than enough legroom to work with back here. Now, I'm not the tallest person out there. I'm around 5'5", but I do think people around the height of 5'8" or 5'9" should be able to sit back here pretty comfortably because one, you have a good amount of shoulder room, but also headroom is more than abundant with the higher roof line. Also, this can come off during the summer. And even when it comes to legroom, it's more than spacious and exactly what you want to see for a vehicle of this size. But one thing I do want to take note of is the fact that these seats do sit on the batteries, and I feel as though that these seats feel a bit firmer than a gas-powered model or a conventional Wrangler, so keep that in mind. Then, moving on to the center seat, there really is no center hump. There is a bit more of an aggression here for the center console, but I think because of the size of this vehicle and its width, you can definitely fit a third person back here, no problem. And that's including the fact that we have the batteries here, which will take away from some of the practicality that we're going to see when it comes to the cargo spacing. So I think when it comes to just passenger volume, it's still going to be on par with the gas-powered Wranglers. And then on the driver's side, this seat is adjusted to someone of my height, around 5'5", and I have plenty of legroom here. So ultimately, we have a vehicle that is practical, also family-friendly, but also more than spacious for when you want to go on those road trips and journeys. Also back here, you do have two rear air vents to go along with the buttons to roll down your windows. Of course, they will be on the center console because these doors can be taken off during the summer. You also will have two USB inputs, also 115-volt 3-pronged outlet. And rounding out the second row seating area, you do get a center armrest with two cup holders. Now coming around, to the back, you're going to receive right around 27.7 cubic feet of room behind the second row seats, which is actually 4 cubic feet less compared to a regular 4-door Wrangler. And that's all because of the battery placements. Now, when the second row seats are up, you're not going to notice any of this difference because you'll be able to fit probably 6 to 7 bags of luggage back here, if not more, if you are going on a road trip with the family because of the higher roofline, but also of how wide this cargo space really is. Also, if you are doing regular grocery shopping or weekday tasks, I think there's more than enough room to fit all your luggage back here, all your items, or maybe even equipment if you are maybe working or you're a contractor. Then with the second row seats folded, you're looking at right around 64.4 cubic feet of room, and overall you lose about 8 cubic feet of space in this vehicle because of the battery placement. So just keep all of that in mind. If that is not an issue and you're just looking for a vehicle that is efficient but also cool looking and capable, then I think that the 4xe is going to be more than enough for you. Then beneath the floor mat, you will have a storage compartment for smaller items, but also your charging cables as well. So that way you have a place where they can be secure and safe when you leave this vehicle unattended for a while. Under the hood of the Wrangler 4xe is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that's paired with dual electric motors to produce a combined 375 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque to go along with an 8-speed automatic transmission. While we weren't able to experience how the Wrangler performs in full EV mode, despite the battery range showing 0 on the gauge cluster, the 4xe still functions as a hybrid, with the electric motors doing most of the work when easing into the throttle off the line and cruising at lower speeds. As mentioned earlier, the Wrangler 4xe does experience regen braking. However, it's not strong enough for one-pedal driving, which wasn't a surprise or a disappointment. Since there's no real mechanical difference when it pertains to the chassis and suspension, you don't miss out on the Jeep Wrangler's rugged driving dynamics. Yet, the weight of the battery is certainly noticeable when cornering. You don't receive the sensation of being planted to the road as you would with EVs or hybrids, as the Wrangler doesn't have a lower center of gravity. But with that said, the 4xe is actually pleasant to drive around town, and once you get up to speed, it is quite smooth on the roadways. The main selling point for this plug-in hybrid is the range when strictly using EV mode, which Jeep rates at around 22 miles, yet some owners have reported better numbers. The Wrangler has never been known for its fuel economy or being efficient, but the 4xe turns what might be seen as a weekend road trip warrior and off-roader for most buyers into a cool and capable daily driver for those with shorter commutes. As always, you'll have 4-wheel drive, and for fuel economy, you're looking at a combined average of 20 miles per gallon when not utilizing the electric power. Overall, the Wrangler 4xe brings a whole new meaning to the term versatility, while also proving that even when electrified, this SUV can be enjoyable and totally worth the price. So to quickly wrap up this video, the value of E is efficiency, flexibility, and the ability to daily drive this off-roader. And that right there is why the 4xe has become the best-selling plug-in hybrid in America, because you could buy a RAV4 or you could buy a Jeep Wrangler. Take your pick. And I think a lot of Americans have chosen the Wrangler because, one, it's iconic, but also every American knows that this vehicle is capable. It's off-road worthy. It can take on the deep snow and mud. Also, it's practical enough where you can load up the family and go on those weekend road trips. You can go camping during the summer. And now you have a new layer, a new dimension to the Wrangler nameplate, where now you have a vehicle that you can go to work in Monday through Friday if you have a short enough commute, and you're using most of it on electric range and electric battery. And that right there, I think, is why psychologically Americans have gravitated towards this vehicle and have been so receptive to it, because it is efficient for shorter trips. It is efficient for what most Americans are using these vehicles for, but also for people who do want to have some fun on their weekends, they can do that as well. And the fact that this is fundamentally and mechanically the exact same as what we see from the V6 and V8 powered vehicles is exactly why we have so many Americans looking at the 4xe, buying it, and really enjoying what this vehicle has to offer. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Also make sure to follow me on Instagram at Boston Autoblog so you can see what I'm up to and what vehicles I'll be featuring in the future. and I will see you guys next time.